Lopi advances the technology of wood burning. EPA certified for clean burning, these new hybrids include refined catalytic combustor design. They burn not only cleaner, but longer and more efficiently. Lopi brings heating with wood into the 21st century.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has been selling wood-burning products since 1977. We want to make fire work for you. Let us show you how Lopi wood-burning stoves can work in your home.
Get in touch with the folks at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. They are the chimney and insulation experts. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis.
Hey, it's Patrick. We're about to hit the ground running into the holiday season, and you're probably realizing, like many other people are right now, that your home is not ready for all those people to come over for the first time since, well, last year's holiday season. So that's why it's important to get ahead of the game right now by calling Zero Res over to take care of your carpets, tiles, rugs, and more. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google Reviews with over 17,000 reviews. And the Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee makes it easy to get what you pay for. Yes, Zero Res absolutely stands by every cleaning. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $149. And don't forget your air ducts. You can get $75 off any air duct cleaning this month. Call Zero Res at 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment today. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Skies clear out tonight with a low of 35, then Thursday clouding over again with a high of 49. Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are Here Again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. Performances are at the Luminary Arts Center in Minneapolis now until November 18th. Get your tickets at interactcenterarts.org.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
They are, Robert. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we have a really important guest here on today, and we're really excited to have Senator Agard on, and she is the Democratic Senate leader, and it's Melissa Agard, a Democrat out of Madison, one of my all-time favorite cities in the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about her tour, her grassroots tour. And I just want to say a big hello and a who here from Native Roots Radio. It's so good to see you.
I'm thrilled to be able to spend some time with you guys talking about something that's super important to me, cannabis reform in Wisconsin and across the Midwest. Certainly, we are not helping the Midwest as we continue falling backwards with our neighboring states. And I think we're going to touch on a lot of different topics. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, here in Minnesota, we just legalized it. We had medical marijuana, and we had our tribe, one of the tribes here, Red Lake, really jump on it and really move. And I think personally, you know, I don't use it I've been sober for 38 years, going to be 39 years here real soon. But it's also works really well in so many different ways in the community. Whether it's mental health, whether it's cancer, whether there's all these things, and it's used correctly, it's a medicine. And so the support that I have in the state of Minnesota, and Ho Chunk too, being a tribal member, it's legal in Illinois also. So it's very important, and especially with fentanyl running around and all these things. Let's get right into it. And we're missing out on so many things in Wisconsin. Senator, let's talk about your mission in here and some of the good talking points about this.
Yeah, so I know that the most dangerous thing about cannabis in Wisconsin is that it continues to be illegal. Illinois and Michigan had adult responsible usage, and Minnesota had medicinal usage for quite some time. But then what we saw was through the legislature, there was an action that allowed edibles and beverages that are infused to be sold in Minnesota. And then just a few months ago, Minnesota became fully legal for responsible adult usage. So Wisconsin is an island of prohibition. And prohibition does not work with any substance. It did not work with alcohol. And there was a point in time where in Wisconsin, margarine was a prohibited subject. People would actually take orders from their friends and neighbors and drive to neighboring states to purchase margarine, because after all, we are the dairy state. And they would distribute the margarine to their friends and neighbors, breaking the law. And we are still the dairy state. People, I think, mostly prefer to eat butter in Wisconsin. But again, margarine, having it be a prohibited substance, was not working. And when I first introduced this bill, it was a decade ago, there were only 2 states that had legalized for responsible adult usage. So I was really at the front of this conversation. And it was because people were reaching out to me as a state assembly representative at that time and sharing stories about how prohibition of cannabis in Wisconsin was harming our communities. And this wasn't a concerted effort. It wasn't an opportunity where people were coming together who had already organized. They were individual stories, whether people of color who were talking about how the racial disparities and cannabis-related arrests were harming them, whether it was veterans who were able to receive relief from the cannabis plant, but in Wisconsin, they knew that they could be a felon for using that plant that grows out of the ground. Whether it was parents who have children with debilitating diseases, that those children with similar diseases in other states were experiencing real relief, and the parents wanted nothing more than for their children to be able to have access to that plant. Whether it was people who wanted to honor their own personal liberties and freedom in their own private homes and consume cannabis and be able to relax in the same way that people are choosing in Wisconsin, to stop at local convenience stores and purchase a 6-pack or more of alcohol and drink that before they go to work tomorrow. And the stories are robust, and I could go on and on for longer than we have here and continue explaining why it is that prohibition is dangerous. And so I rolled up my sleeves and started working on a bill that would have responsible adult use policy in Wisconsin for folks over 21 and access for folks under the age of 21 and above, also for medicinal relief to use the plant.
We're here with Senate Democratic leader Melissa Agard, a Democrat out of Madison, Wisconsin, again, one of my all-time favorite cities in the world. We are talking about her tour, the Grassroots Tour, and I know here, and I imagine in Wisconsin it's very similar. We had 70% were for this bill and this kind of thing to tax it, decriminalize it. It's 2023.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what this bill would do, is would tax and regulate cannabis for sale in the same way that we tax and regulate the sale of alcohol or tobacco in the state of Wisconsin. And it is a 70% approval rating. 7 out of 10 people support full legalization. Now, medicinal cannabis, it's even higher than that. But, it's politicians that need to make that choice, because in Wisconsin, we do not allow referendum questions on our ballots to change the direction of our laws. It has to go through the legislature. And any policymaker, any elected senator or representative who wins their election with a 70% margin would be considered a landslide. And I'm not sure why it is that when it comes to policies, we see it in a different way. We are more dangerous and we're less free. And we have less opportunity in Wisconsin because of prohibition. And despite the fact that 70% of the folks in Wisconsin, nearly 70% of the folks in Wisconsin support this bill, I haven't been able to get a hearing over 10 years.
Wow.
So I've embarked on the grassroots tour, and I've stopped at dozens of cities across the state. I'll continue until the weather makes it a little bit tricky to navigate. Meeting with people where they are, as opposed to bringing them to Madison, so that I can hear about people's dreams and hopes, concerns about cannabis, and make sure that we get this bill drafted in the best way possible.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about. And one of the things after this break, State Senator, I would really like to talk about how healthy it would be to have this happen, because we have an epidemic here of fentanyl and things like that. And when it's controlled, we won't have these overdoses and stuff. But hey, we're here with Senate Democratic leader Melissa Agard, Democrat out of Wisconsin, and we're going to be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Right on. Hey, listening to Native Roots Radio.
What's up? This is Toolman. And this is Bear Witness. And we are the Hallucination. And you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
The Hallucination. We are Hallucination. We are Hallucination. We are Hallucination. We are Hallucination.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Back to school season is here. And while this is an exciting time for parents, kids, and educators, let's not forget how far we've come in our battle against COVID-19. We're in a better place, but COVID-19 is still here, and we need to continue to help protect our communities. With the flurry of new schedules and classrooms, let's not overlook the fundamentals of staying safe. Wash your hands regularly and watch for any symptoms like fever, chills, a cough, or shortness of breath. Should you or someone you know have COVID-19 symptoms, Stay home and get tested. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. Let's have this back to school season be a time of renewed commitment to our collective health and brighter future for our Native communities. Again, find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Hey, we're here with State Senator Agard, and we are talking about her tour, grassroots tour. And I'd like to just bring in the fact that, not the fact, but just in the discussion that we have an issue here with fentanyl. And what better way, and I mean, people are mixing marijuana with fentanyl now, and what better way to protect people is to legalize this. And welcome back.
Absolutely. So it's vitally important that we make sure that everyone in our communities is as safe as possible. And that's why regulation of cannabis is the right thing. It's a safety issue. Not only would we be able to address racial disparities that exist because of prohibition, but we also know that there is a very successful illicit market of cannabis and of other substances. And, you know, oftentimes people will say, why do you want to introduce a new substance? Well, I'm not introducing something new. Actually, cannabis has been found in the tombs of pharaohs in Egypt. It is something that has been on this earth for a very long time, and that human beings have had a relationship with. It's only over the last 100 years or so that it's become more taboo, and we need to crawl ourselves out of that hole. I lost a brother to fentanyl poisoning, and I know that that is not a unique story. There are empty chairs and broken hearts across our nation because of the fentanyl and opioid epidemic. And folks that are distributing illicit substances, including cannabis, are oftentimes distributing other illicit substances, fentanyl and the such. And we need to make sure that folks are safe. And with regulated legal sales of cannabis, we will be able to make sure that there are not pesticides, that there's not mold, that there's not fentanyl, that it's labeled. There's truth in labeling. In the same way when you buy alcohol, it tells you what the proof is. The science is there. And it is highly regulated in legal states where you have to show your ID multiple times. Where on the illicit market, kids and adults are accessing uncontrolled substances, and it can be very, very harmful to our communities as well as the consumers.
I know Minnesota, their bill is over 300 pages, maybe even more than that long. And so there's been intensive scrutiny on this. And I imagine, too, you've been able to see that bill, State Senator, that it's just not a wishy-washy, let's legalize this and have a good old time. There's restrictions, like you said, age restrictions and where you can do it and things like that. How has your tour been? And I see you've been in Madison, Superior, Wisconsin, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan. How has your tour been, and how's the response been?
Before that, I was in Platteville and Green Bay and Eau Claire. I've been in La Crosse, Milwaukee, Wauwatosa. I'm sure I'm forgetting other communities as well. And frankly, it is clear that people have questions. They want to make sure that we're doing this in a thoughtful way, that we're providing real protections for our communities, for our local governments, as well as for the people who live in Wisconsin and people who spend time in Wisconsin who may be choosing to go to a dispensary to purchase. But prohibition isn't allowing us to do any of that. And the bill in Minnesota, as well as the legislation in Michigan and Illinois and the 20 other states, because there's 23 states that have legalized for responsible adult usage. Those are pages and pages of protections that do not exist in states that have prohibition. And when I point that out to people, when we're talking about education of youth and impaired driving, licensing, labeling, the list goes on and on. It is clear that we have been very thoughtful. And when I was in Superior, I drove over to St. Paul and I sat down with advocates as well as lawmakers who were at the front lines of passing the bill in Minnesota. And we're asking the same questions that you all asked, and you had a very robust process. It lasted for a long time. It went through many committees. Lots of people stood up and put their feedback in.
Exactly. We've had the opportunity to have a lot of the leaders on our show. I know for many years, our friend, I can't think of her name right off the top of my head right now, but she has been on our show a bunch of times, and she's really led the way as a state representative here. And it passing was a huge thing. I know we had at the signing, we had former Governor Jesse Ventura there. He was really leading the way too in many ways. His wife is using it for medical purposes. I just think that it's 2023 and there's so many people, especially during the 3 strikes you're out, that are in prison now for things. And frankly, for me, being a Ho-Chunk, it would be great for economic development for our tribe and our nation to do something similar that Red Lake's doing up north.
Well, and Red Lake has been one of the front end people. I mean, they as soon as it was legal, they opened up. And my understanding is I chatted with some folks that were there. The lines were long. They were selling out. They were figuring out how to collaborate with other people. And they're really investing in the prosperity of their own people, their own community. And that's what government should do, is make sure that we are safe, that everyone in our communities are safe, that is equitable, and that we're providing paths to prosperity. And that's what this bill does, is it honors our own liberty. It provides more opportunity and money for reinvestment into our communities to make them be better, as well as really lifts up the individual as well. And that to me feels very much like nonpartisan talking points. And it's unfortunate that we get lost behind party affiliation with these conversations. But it's not a matter of if this is going to happen, it's a matter of when and what the details are, and making sure that with the money that is raised from cannabis sales and licensing fees, that it's reinvested in the communities that have been harmed. So in our bill, we have community reinvestment funds, so that communities like the First Nations, agricultural communities, women, people of color are at the front lines of being able to be able to invest in the industry and to receive those funds to equalize harm that has been done in the state of Wisconsin.
Right. And I want to apologize to State Representative Jessica Hansen for forgetting her name. She's a good friend of mine, but what a forefront, really worked on it for the last 7-8 years. And she's a doer, and I'm sure you've talked to her, State Senator, about all the things that the hurdles. It is a matter of time that it's going to happen. And we need Wisconsin to jump on it because of all the economic development. And also there's going to be in the bills, there's here in Minnesota, there's help for people that need help, whether they're abusing alcohol or drugs or whatever. So let's get this done. What I always like to, Senator, is to get a call to action. What can people that are listening to the show, especially we're on civic media all over Wisconsin here, we're on 20 other stations. What can they do what can they do? Can they call somebody? What can a call to action be or look like?
Yeah. So, if I'm coming to your town, please show up to one of the stops on the Grassroots Tour. We let people know about those on social media. So you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter to find out when our next stops are. Additionally, we do have a sign-on document that people can sign their names on and support. What we're asking for is simply for a public hearing of this legislation. We're not even pushing anything more than that. So it will go to the leadership of the majority party in Wisconsin, asking them to allow us to have a public hearing. And people can find that sign-on petition on my office website. You can just Google Melissa Agard, Senator Melissa Agard, and that'll come up. Or you can find it also on our Facebook and our Twitter pages. But ultimately, there's a lot of myths to overcome when it comes to cannabis. People still seem to suffer from reefer madness. And I think that taking those myths out and being truth tellers is very, very important. And really showing up for what your values are. Number one thing that we can all do is vote in all elections and vote our values and our morals. And have the backs of people who are putting themselves on the line. And if you've never thought about running for office, whether it's cannabis or domestic violence, sexual assault, healthcare, whatever it is, please think about running for office. We need more good people, passionate people to run for office and add their voices in our Capitol buildings.
Well, I want to say a big Peeny Gigi thank you for coming on our show. I hope we can make this more frequently and more often, seeing that we have a lot of listeners in Wisconsin and also the good work that you're doing. State Senator Melissa Agard, Democrat out of Madison, one of my, again, favorite cities in the world. Thank you so much for coming on. And one more time for your website so we can get people a plan to action here.
So just go to sen.agard@legis.wi.gov and you will find us. And it has been an honor to be on the show today. I look forward to coming back and continuing to chat with you about how it is that we make this world more compassionate and equitable for everyone.
Absolutely. Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for coming on. Really, our pleasure all the way, really. So, hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break.
I've been driving in my Indian car with the pound of the wheels drumming in my brain. My dash is dusty, my plates are expired. Please, Mr. Officer, let me
Be a vaccinative. As the fall season continues, new COVID-19 variants threaten the health of not just you, but our elders as well. These new variants might even evade previous vaccines. That's why it's important to stay up to date. The newly authorized vaccines target current variants effectively and are FDA approved of the show months and older. But there is an important note. These are the first COVID vaccines to be commercialized, which means there may be costs associated with them. Speak with your health insurer about your coverage before scheduling an appointment to avoid a surprise bill. For those without health insurance, help is available. Ask your health clinic about options or visit vaccines.gov for free locations. Getting vaccinated protects you from severe disease. Don't put yourself or elders at risk. So be a vaccinative and protect our community. You can visit vaccines.gov for free vaccine locations.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Your friends and your family will have a great time with the fantastic food like the pizzas, appetizers, burgers, entrees, and sandwiches, the best bowling in Minnesota, the wildly popular outdoor patio, great drink specials, all the big games on their numerous screens, and it's the perfect place for your next private event, even large gatherings for over 200. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for everyone age 1 to 100. Come see for yourself. Have fun at the Park Tavern, Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park.
Hell is empty and the devils are all here again. Attend this original, uplifting, and revealing musical satire about the times in which we live. This play explores wokeism, misinformation, the colonization of Mars, spy balloons, and features parodies of President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and even Mickey Mouse and Barbie make an appearance. Interact's Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are Here Again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. The performance is at the Luminary Arts Center in the North Loop and ends November 18th, so get your tickets now. Special Queer Night on Thursday, November 16th. Time is going fast, so do not miss your chance to see this original performance only available in Minneapolis. Interact Center's mission is to create art that challenges society's view of disabilities, and this performance features a cast of neurodiverse actors offering a joyful, inclusive, and funny look at our society. For tickets and more information, go to interactcenterarts.org. Hurry, play ends November 18th.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Skies clear out tonight with a low of 35, then Thursday clouding over again with a high of 49. Gotcha Mama's Hot Barbecue offers the huge taste of selections like baby back ribs and pulled pork sandwiches out of a little place. Gotcha Mama's is located just a block west of I-35W off of West Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis. Visit their website at scotchamamas.com.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Support honest Native news from Natives themselves. Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon.
Well, Haley, we're super excited to have our guests on tonight, and there's events happening, and we want to talk and dig deep here in the next couple segments here, and I want to introduce Terryl. And Terryl, you're the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of the Twin Cities, and I want to just say a big hello and a big peeny-gigi for coming on. And then we also have TJ too, and I want to get deep with what you'd like to speak about.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, let's talk about this life-changing organization that you guys are a big part of. And TJ, you're the director at Little Earth of the Boys and Girls Club too. So I am really excited because young ones and students were my jam for 30 years as an old teacher. So I really love to, well, I guess old in a couple different ways, but
sure.
Old teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, but let's talk about your work and what's going on. And I know, Terryl, you're doing a lot of expansion too in a good way. So let's get going.
Absolutely. Well, we're so excited to be here today. And I think really TJ's got the passion and is really a leader that I look up to, someone that our organization is truly, truly invested in. I will tell you, 4 years ago, there was 1.5 employees at Little Earth Boys and Girls Club. And because of TJ's leadership, really driving it, we have shifted to 7 full-time staff over there doing amazing, awesome things. And talk about education, I just want to do a shout out to TJ. Not only has he tripled the number of elementary kids that are part of our program, where education is a huge part of the work that we do daily, But TJ celebrated 6 of his seniors that went on to post-secondary school at Little Earth. And I'll let him talk more about that, but he is just my hero in our whole organization for the incredible work that he's done over the last number of years, especially during, the pandemic and after George Floyd was murdered. We were really struggling and there was a lot of trauma in our community, and TJ really stood up and took us to the next level, which is what, you initially had talked about. We're doing great things, but we don't do it without our leaders.
Right on. TJ, wow, that's beautiful to hear, and talk a little bit about that, because sometimes it's the darkest before sunrise, and you've really done some good work with our young ones, and getting them to go to college and get degrees is huge, because we're still here and we are power. We're here.
Yeah, the work we do, I mean, it's an honor. It's really humbling, and it's an honor to serve families and kids. I grew up in the Twin Cities, and I was a club kid for a long time, so I'm a club alumni. I actually showed Terryl my club card when I was 6 years old, way back in the 90s. And so then I went my own way and found, a lot of trouble. And so when I got into youth work, I just wanted to be the resource and the guide and mentor that I felt like I never really had. And so to have been walked alongside some of these kids for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and then to see them like, man, you were a middle schooler or an elementary, and now you're a senior, or now you're in college. I got 3 players, they're in college, they're playing college basketball. I'm like, man, to just see that, it makes like all the nights where you go home and wonder, like, am I really making a difference? Those stories, I mean, they're really what keep us going, and it just, man, it makes my heart so happy to know that, that's how generational trauma and generational poverty and these things that plague our people so often, that's how they get broken, is when someone stands up and says, I want to be the change, even if it's hard, it's lonely. Like, I remember being the only Native in my university, and I'm like, I look around and I'm like, I'm not represented here. This bothers me, It bothers me that there's no other Native people, and specifically Native men, trying to. So then to see out of all the kids in college, out of all the 6, 5 of them are men. So I'm like, man, that's just, wow. It makes me want to shed tears of joy, because it's like, you're doing it and you're the future. And like I tell these kids all the time, man, I didn't get my life together till I was 21. You guys are starting at 13, 15, 17. Like, you're way ahead of me. You're more talented. You're smarter. Whatever I can do to just be the resource you need, man, I'll do whatever I can to just help you succeed, And so it really blesses my heart for sure.
Well, what's really important is, as both as well as I do, is a community. And the Boys and Girls Club have been around a long time, and there's community in that. And so I just applaud both of you so much, because we are all about building community. And Terryl, I think TJ's got it understood how to do it, and that's really exciting.
It is, and I think he's we'll end up with 13 clubs by March of next year. But it's the leaders, it's the staff. Like, I can't tell you how every day I'm impressed with what our team is doing, what they're doing to lead out in a way like no other. And it's those moments too that I just have to tell, like, a story on TJ's kids. I got to go to the legislature with them last March, and they've got such a great handle on what they want in their world, and they've got these great solutions. And I think that's what really transforms me and my leadership and ability to continue to move on and do more for our kids. And I think that's what I would want for our whole community. Let's invest deeper and broader, because the work is working, and we've seen so many great successes of people that have grown up. I mean, TJ's a club kid. They chose right there. Like, he's a perfect example of somebody that comes from club. And I would also say, like, club is not, we don't want to work in silo. We don't want to do this like just ourselves. We are so about partnership. and connection and creating a stronger ecosystem in the Twin Cities. And so I think that's something for listeners to really understand. And if they want to participate and partner and do this alongside us, we are very, very open to that, because we've seen that transformational outcome happen with so many kids by us working together.
Well, it's now the Boys and Girls Club do more things than, let's say, play dodgeball. You guys are giving people opportunity to do their homework there and get tutoring help. It's not the same Boys and Girls Club that I grew up with, right, TJ?
No, it's totally different, and it's for a good reason. You know, kids come, and a typical day is they come, they check in, we welcome them in, they get a snack, you know, they're hungry after school, and then we get straight into, you know, homework help. And then from there, there's different stations that kids can do to spark their creativity, help them with math, reading levels, youth voice, which empowers them, art, music, podcast. There's just so many cultural things. You know, we've done things where we do like drum making, 8-week drum making class. The kids are going to literally make the drum from scratch, learn the song, sing, and then it's theirs to keep, you know. And so they can come, and it's like, it's a big family. A lot of the kids here, they're like, you know, this is my second home. They view the staff as like, you know, a part of their, you know, extended family. And it's just a huge honor, because then we get to meet the parents, and then how can we help the parents and support the parents, and how can the parents support us, you know? And then it becomes that tribe or that village that's helping raise these kids, you know. And then, you know, it's harder for kids to slip through the cracks the more connected we are. Two parents, two communities, two organizations that are trying to vie for the same kids. And it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And I want to just, Terryl, I think some schools out there would love to have 6 Native American young men going to college. So that's mind blowing to me. That's what great work that you guys and your organization, Boys and Girls Club, is doing. That statistic alone is something to hang your hat on.
Absolutely. And I think too, a big add to our program model this last year is we added a department that is managing all of our alumni. So we've got over 300 alumnus. So those 6 young people that went to post-secondary are now part of our alumni association. So that idea, or TJ, I mean, he's a staff person, but he's also part of our alumni association. So that continual give back and opportunity to connect, but also support them. A lot of our, you know, young people that go off to post-secondary, or they're in their 20s and they're looking for that job or that network, the club is still there for them. That community continues to be there. And so for me, I've been around, I didn't come up through club, but I've been with the club my whole career. So 26 years. I started at Southside Village over on 39th in Chicago, and it's now in my blood. It's so much a part of my life and my experience. And it is the reason for, like, a lot of us that work there, everything that we want to do and see for our community. It's really the conduit to make all of the things that we need to happen in a community happen. And that's what the commitment, I will say, from our entire organization is, to ensure that all young people are on track for a successful future beyond high school graduation. And we hang our hat on that every day. Like, that is the be end all of what Boys and Girls Club is going to do for every single young person, no matter where, like TJ said, no matter where they start. It doesn't matter. We're going to commit to staying with them throughout their entire experience with us.
This is amazing, Haley. Don't you think this is like, I'm getting emotional, because there's some serious stuff going on here with TJ, and then, you know, Terryl and the whole Boys and Club deal here. This is kind of blowing me away.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think we only have just a couple minutes left here, but I really loved what you touched on, TJ, talking about how when kids are supported by, you know, 2 parents or more than one community organization, and it's less, you know, it makes it harder for them to slip through the cracks when there's so many hands and there's so many working parts in the community that are holding up our youth and working towards giving them resources to make them succeed and successful. I think that's amazing. And I honestly did not know much about the Boys and Girls Club. I was not a club member, but after hearing your guys' stories, and I really, really wish I did have a resource like this. So I'm happy, and our Facebook comments and everyone is just saying how much Boys and Girls Club means to them and how thankful they are for it. So thank you both for coming on today with us.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having us, and continue to do what you guys do out in the, talking about the issues that matter the most to our community.
Do you guys have time to hang out for another segment?
Sure.
I'm good.
All right, you guys,
Let's
we
do
are
it.
listening to Native Roots Radio Network presents I'm Awake. We'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us.
Unveil the captivating world of Native photography at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Their new exhibit, In Our Hands, Native Photography 1890 to Now, turns the camera around and puts Native photographers in control, featuring hundreds of photographs captured by generations of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and Native Americans. You'll view the world through their lens, revealing the beauty and complexity of Indigenous heritage. Don't miss this incredible experience. Visit In Our Hands at the Minneapolis Institute of Art now through January 14th. For more info, visit artsmia.org.
Are you thinking about college? Consider checking out Minnesota Private Colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you.
Portion of the show.
mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Wow. That was a
good pack howl, you guys.
That was awesome. Hey, we're with Terryl and TJ, and Terryl is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of the Twin Cities, and TJ is the director at Little Earth Boys and Girls Club. And during the middle of this interview, I tend to get emotional, and you guys are doing such great work, and I can't thank you enough for the community. And TJ, I think you got it going on there with community and getting those young ones going. And I just got to give you just so much cred. I want to say thank you, and thank you both for coming on tonight.
I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it's an honor for sure. It's crazy because our program director, Laura Petschauer, she said you taught at her high school. So she remembers you. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Kind of a small world.
Yeah, it's totally small. I hope she had good things to say. Oh, wow. Oh, great. Say hi to her for me. That's awesome. That's community, and that's the circle we all talk about is, a former student of mine or a former student of yours, or, someone that's Terrell's worked on over the years. That's what it's all about. What legacy are we leaving? And Boys and Girls Club has always been a great organization, but it's the 21st century now, and it sounds like you guys are really talking 21st century things.
Absolutely. Well, we have to, because our kids are leading us. And I think it's not just us talking. I think the bigger thing, TJ and I were on a conversation earlier today, it's what our young people are saying. And that's what we as adults need to pay a lot of attention to, because that's how we're going to get ourselves to a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an amazing statement. TJ, what are the kids saying now?
It's a totally different.
doing?
Yeah, it's just a totally different world. I think that some of the easiest examples I can give are, growing up, my mom told me, you'll never make money playing video games, right? And now we know the esports industry is $1 billion industry. So we have a whole part of our club here that is dedicated to esports, but not just kids playing games, learning and partnering with. On November 9th, we're going to T-Wolves Gaming at the Mall of America, and they're a pro 2K team, so they play 2K professionally. But they want to partner with us, and we've done this with multiple other organizations. How can we teach kids the technology industry so that they don't just play video games, but they could be the next person to, work at an IT company or develop games or build the computers or be the photographer or, the person who runs the website. And so trying to get kids to invest in what they already love and then just guiding them and pairing them with people who are already in the field doing it. And then we partner with these organizations. They're like, man, we would love nothing more than to come in and talk to kids and whatever we can do, buy some pizza, donate a couple gift cards, share my story. Like, organizations love to do that. And so, it's just a no-brainer. You put those two together and it's just success waiting to happen. So.
Well, you got to give you guys some credit here because, we hear our young ones, but not everyone really hears them and listens. So I got to give you guys a lot of credit there because, yeah, I mean, there's gaming tournaments that people make $1 million, and who would have thunk that when I would say, put your phone away? I'm talking.
I mean, even just the way we do programming. It doesn't have to be sit in a classroom in a circle or in a row of chairs. It can be interactive. It can include media and technology. It can include getting up out of your chair. Maybe we don't even sit down at all. So as a basketball coach, when I run our Passport to Manhood program or some of our mentoring program, I just do it right there at practice. While we're stretching, while we're circled up, let's just have a discussion about what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be responsible? What does it mean to be a protector? And then you're killing two birds with one stone. And then the kids are already having fun. They're already doing something they're engaged in. I really think that way of learning is like really, really what kids value and how they learn best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Terryl, it's like a pebble thrown in the water and the ripple effect. I imagine that you've seen so much over your years, but also with this great organization that TJ's running in Little Earth, that it's going to come back tenfold, and the future looks bright because of that, pebble in the water effect.
Absolutely. We see those kids, and I think just even the graduation moment that we all had together, and it was, not just TJ's club, but that was a huge one because TJ and I had we talked for a lot of years about our sadness. That these kids were struggling so much. So to get to that point, and now they're the leaders that will like uplift that next generation or that next, those juniors that are looking. They're focused on who just graduated. So that ripple effect can directly impact those kids that are in the club right now, and really uplift more and more to see that as a possibility. I think it's just kids believing in themselves and know that we're going to be there for them no matter what. It doesn't matter at the Boys and Girls Club. I used to say when I ran a club is every day is a new day at a Boys and Girls Club. So like whatever you did yesterday, that's okay, because we're coming back and we're going to do it. We're going to do it this way today, and we're going to be there for you to get through what we need to get you to the next place that you need to go. So, and that's why TJ is such an amazing leader, because he does it every day with his kids.
Absolutely. Terryl, just to give a brief update of the clubs that you look over here in the Twin Cities. Let's name a few, because we got people listening to this all over, and maybe they don't know there's one in their community.
Absolutely. And I will say there is no cost to join a Boys and Girls Club. So everything is all inclusive. You just have to sign up. The one thing we do ask of our kids is that they provide service to club or community. So be a volunteer, do something to help others. is the one thing we ask. So we've got Jerry Gamble in North Minneapolis, everybody knows. We've got 2 school sites. Patrick Henry has a club, Olson Middle in Minneapolis. Southside Village, which is right up the street from Little Earth on 39th in Chicago. And then we've got 3 clubs in St. Paul. So if listeners on that side of the river, we've got East Side, we've got Mount Airy, and then the Allensmeyer West Side in the west side of St. Paul, as well as Richfield. So if we go further out in the suburbs, we've got 2 clubs in Richfield at Richfield Middle School, Centennial Elementary. And then way out where our kids go to camp in Mound, Minnesota, we actually opened a club there as well. And then the 12th is in Elk River, which was an ad. We took over a club that used to be part of another organization, and that just opened this fall under Boys and Girls Clubs of the Twin Cities.
Wow, that's exciting. Hey, we only got a few minutes left here. TJ, you get 1 minute, as the producer just said, give us the one finger up. TJ, any last comments here before we let you go?
I just appreciate y'all having me on the show. I really consider it an honor to do the work that I do, represent my people. Well, I'm Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians. And you know, I'm all for the community and collaboration and partnership. And so I'm just honored to be here. So appreciate y'all.
Yeah, Pinagigi, we really appreciate Boys and Girls Club and what they do in the Twin Cities and all over Turtle Island. Thank you so much for being on. This has been Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Thank you.
Hey, we are still here. We are the next generation. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, and free Leonard Peltier. Now.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis,